Hey guys, this is Typhon Alpha, bringing you a short video about what infantry marches I'm running and what infantry marches you can run in the open field. First up, I'm running Liu Che with Alex in the open field right now. This is arguably the best march in the game right now if you're not considering William Wallace to pair with your Liu Che. Why is this? Because he's got fan shape AoE, he's got a load of stats, 20% attack, 20% defense, 20% march speed. He's also fairly tanky in the open field, because you've got that 20% skill damage reduction on his second skill, and you've got this 10% less damage for 3 seconds whenever you're dealing smite damage to the target. But the most important thing, which is what makes him so great with Alexander the Great, is that you have a 25% chance of gaining a basic attack worth of rage, which is helping Alexander the Great get a bit of a rebirth right now, because on his second skill he's doing 1700 to the target based on whenever you launch a basic attack you have a 10% chance. So if you're doing popping in, popping out, targeting a march, if you're running Liu Che Alex, you have a chance to launch that 1700 damage factor onto the march you're hitting and then run away, which makes him really good for maybe a free-to-play player who doesn't have the best gear, doesn't want to get swarmed and targeted. You have that ability to run into the field, run out of the field. You've got that 20% march speed on Liu Che, then you've got that 30% march speed on Alex, which makes this quite a fast march. Alex is also bringing 40% attack when you don't have a shield, with 30% defense when you do have a shield, 30% attack at all times, which is really strong stats. You've also got his relic, which is giving you, I believe, normal damage increase or resistance. And then on his primary skill, you've got the 1200 damage absorbing shield, 4 seconds. This shield will usually break within 1 or 2 turns, so most of the time on his fourth skill it will be more attack damage rather than defense damage. But this is really strong for a smite damage commander like Liu Che, because it's scaling off attacks. Next up, got Guan with Scipio, and I run this commander mainly because I had Guan maxed a few months back already with Scipio, and I don't feel that this pair should be getting broken up. Why do I run Guan? He's doing that silence, which is unmatched right now by the commanders, other than the new Scipio for rallies. He's also doing AoE damage. He's got a normal damage bonus. He's got 15% march speed. The only thing that Guan Yu is missing is the tankiness, which is why you bring Scipio as the secondary, because he's got the 20% health bonus. And then he's also got a fairly high amount of march speed, 15% march speed with 10% outside alliance territory, as well as 40% attack. And then his expertise is 10% more skill damage, and then you've got 30% more rage if the current target is being silenced, which works perfectly with your Guan Yu. Alternative commanders you could be looking at is William Wallace for your Liu Che. He's doing high amount of direct damage, 2400. He's got a decent amount of stats, 30% attack, 10% health, and 20% march speed. His third skill is thought to have been a lot better than it actually ended up being. So this 8% chance of increasing 20% damage when the damage is over 1000. It was thought that the Liu Che AoE damage would be amplified by this 20% for all the targets you were hitting. This is not actually what happens, so only the target that you're focusing on with your Liu Che is getting amplified by this 20% damage. He's also got smite damage bonus, normal damage bonus. It's all really nice and synergizes well with that Liu Che. And then on his expertise, you've got a bit of, anti-swarm, I guess, with that Mighty Shield 1000. Obviously, this is quite a small damage factor with the high amounts of normal damage you're getting from Liu Che marches now. This Mighty Shield will break within that 2 seconds that it lasts. And it also has 10% cooldown, which is not that great. So, yeah, you could run Liu Che with William Wallace, but I would personally run, if you have Alex expertise like I do, and you have the relic, I'd run Liu Che Alex over Liu Che William. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers, they're running Liu Che Alex. They're doing better trades with that march, so I'd stick with that march. When it comes to some of these old commanders, I wouldn't run Constantine, Richard, Martel in the open field. I would say Martel, you could run him with the Liu Che if you didn't have the Alex and you didn't have the gold hairs for Wallace. You could run the Liu Che with Martel secondary and you'd get that counter-attack damage bonus, which would synergize reasonably well with your Liu Che. But other than that, I wouldn't use Martel long term. The only place you would use Constantine is in Canyon. You've also got Gorgo, who is, a fairly good smite damage commander in the open field. I don't personally run her, but you could run a Gorgo with Liu Che. It would just be a very slow march, so you'd have to use the 4-piece infantry set with the march speed from armaments preferably, so you could run her in the open field. Herald and Recall, I wouldn't run this march anymore in the open field. It's really tanky. You do get decent trades when you're getting swarmed, but I wouldn't recommend investing in them. Leonidas, out of the meta right now. Liu Che out of the meta. Zeno isn't meta in infantry right now. Virus is a gold key commander, so I wouldn't invest in him. And then the only other slightly viable infantry commanders are Sargon and Tariq. I think Sargon is okay in the open field. It just requires you to be fairly fast and connecting with the target to be able to do the 500 damage up to over 5 seconds. I've seen some good trades with Scipio with Sargon, but you do need it to be as fast as possible to be able to run that effectively. People do run Sargon with Tariq if you're running a 3rd infantry march, but for a 1st, 2nd march I wouldn't run those two together. So what is my verdict? Being that Guan Yu with Scipio Prime I think still has viability in the open field as a secondary infantry march, and then you have to run Liu Che as your primary infantry march, and that can be with either Alex or William, who you'd run more likely as the primary to Liu Che. And yeah, that is my opinion on what you should invest in. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, comment any criticism you have, and thank you for listening.